Hello, everyone, and welcome into another Ryan and Megan podcast episode. We are talking about the top 10 frequently asked questions for travel therapy that we get when we talk to schools and that we get here online in the comment section. We've kind of consolidated them down to kind of the top 10 questions we usually get.
Welcome into episode number 28 of Ryan and Megan, the podcast. And we are two traveling physical therapists. We travel with two little girls, so we are also a traveling family. And we're sharing our experience on here with you and hopefully giving you some encouragement to try it yourself if it's something that piques your interest. So today we're talking about the 10 most frequently asked questions. If we don't hit one of your questions, comment, let us know what yours is, and we can do a part 2 of this one.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually, because we definitely won't hit all the questions that you all might have, but this will just be kind of the top 10 ones we typically get. But before we hop in,
right,
if you would, please consider taking a little bit of time out of your day to give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. That really helps grow our channel and have us reach more therapists who are interested in becoming a traveler. And if you're over on YouTube, then hit that like button, consider subscribing. That's what you can do.
Notification bell.
Yeah. Do they even have that anymore?
I don't know.
They might.
Really don't know.
If they do, ring it.
You know, millennial used to be like a cute, hip, young term, but now it's just like,
you have
you're
kids.
old and you got kids and you don't know what's going on term. But anyway, let's get into the first question. What is travel therapy?
Yeah. What exactly
does that even mean?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So this is a real basic one, but one we usually try to hit again when we're kind of speaking on college campuses to therapy departments. And in a nutshell, just kind of saying that travel, PT, OT, speech language pathologists, all the allied health, this is all about taking short-term assignments, usually about 13 weeks is a typical assignment. So short-term assignments, but in different locations, helping out hospitals, outpatient places, home health, skilled nursing facilities, all the different facilities, sometimes just need some extra staffing. And as a traveler, that's what you're there for. You're saying, hey, I'll come work for you for 13 weeks. And since they need you usually right then, they're willing to pay you more. Your services are at a premium because they're needing you now. But it's a short-term contract. Anything else that you would add on that?
Travel therapy could also mean like traveling the world to ease your sorrows and go out.
It's kind of funny.
It kind of crosses over a little bit.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that because anytime we post anything on Instagram, we'll do like hashtag travel therapy because that's how some people look us up. But a lot of times it gets pulled in this algorithm of like people who are way cooler than us. And they're like going to like Iceland and all these different places. And really it's a hashtag for like people who just get therapy from seeing other people travel. We're kind of like that, but not as artistic, I guess. So
yeah. All right.
That's travel therapy.
That's
13-week assignments, short-term assignments.
Okay, so the number 2 question is, not ranked number 2. It's just the second one we got on our list. We're not ranking things here. But how do I handle licensing as a travel therapist? This is a great question. You got to be licensed.
Everyone's usually worried about licensing.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. It's my least favorite thing to do.
Well, as a new therapist, you're just coming out of school, you take your big board exam, and then you get your first license. Usually that's in your home state, like where your permanent residence, or for some people, it's like where they went to school or something like that. You figure out where you want your home state to be. Did you have something to say?
Usually where your tax home is.
Where your tax home is.
Typically.
So you got a license. That's step number 1. You have to do that before recruiters will let you look at jobs.
Yeah, you got to pass your board.
But then after that, if you are a PT, a physical therapist, we have a compact, which means basically that our license, after we take our boards, is good for any other state that is a part of the compact. Now, it's not nationwide yet, so not all 50 states or territories are all included. And your home license has to be a part of the compact in order to use those privileges. So we're from Missouri. That's where ours is. It's in the compact. And that means that any other state, which is a lot now, I don't know what the number is. It is a lot. Any other state that is a compact license state, we can basically go online, take the jurisprudence exam, which is just a law exam. It's nowhere near as involved as your boards. And once you take that exam, you pay like a minimal fee of like $35, $50, sometimes it's less, to get privileges to that state. And then you're licensed in that state, and it happens in like hours.
Yeah, you basically buy privileges to have a license, and then they're kind of piggybacking off your home state license. That is super helpful. It's so convenient that a lot of times when we want to go somewhere on a travel assignment, we will look in compact state areas because we just know licensing will be easier, and that we can get it really quick. Now, if there's a state that's not a part of the compact, Florida, some of those other ones,
or
California,
if you're from a state that's not a part of the compact and you don't have access to the compact,
you can still go to any state that you want. You're just going to have to get a full license. And so each state is so different on that. It's hard for us to answer like this is exactly what you'll need to do. A lot of times your recruiters will have a licensing department or your travel company that will help you take you through the process. And it's super helpful because some states, they want 10 billion things. Other states, they only want 5. And then they will tell you like what forms you need to turn in, what verification of licenses you need to send, which if you've been traveling for a while and you have multiple licenses or you've been in multiple states, verification of employment, you've been working at multiple places, that can add up a little bit, but they will kind of take you through it, the requirements. So each state's different. Go through.
Usually your fee to get licensed is higher, like a couple $100. Sometimes you have to get fingerprinted. But usually it's an application for the license, jurisprudence exam, paperwork from your other licensed states, maybe fingerprinting, money to get licensed. And then the processing time varies based on which state it is. So there are certain states that are notorious for taking a long time. Other ones might take a couple weeks. So usually it's like 2 weeks up to maybe 8 weeks. Maybe if it's the holiday time, it'll be longer. And there are, usually the people from the company who are in that department kind of have a read on how long things are taking. And if you need it sooner, then you just start calling people and bugging them until they push it through for you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So, we've always kind of recommended if you're getting new into travel therapy, and if you don't have a compact license, then maybe pick like 2 or 3 states that you're kind of interested in, and then talk to your travel company about like how long is the normal processing time, because you might need to just go ahead and get 2 or 3 state licenses so you have some options, and you're kind of past that processing time. Or if like you're interested in like going to California and they're going to take a month or 2 to process things, then you want to get on top of that while you're on a different assignment elsewhere, so you can kind of get that passed through. But sometimes thinking ahead of the game on some of that stuff. If you have a compact license, way easier. You can wait till the last.
I know nurses have compact stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since we're PTs and we're not super familiar with speech or OT, I'm not quite sure.
I don't think does.
Yeah.
I don't think OT does either, but
OT
you could correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, I think OT might have introduced something like that.
They're all trying to.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll all go to a compact license, and it'll be super helpful for us travelers. But PTs, we're just kind of getting into the game. Nurses were way ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. Can I choose where I work? So a
No.
lot of times people are worried that like your travel company is just going to send you to North Dakota in the winter and you won't have any choice.
You would
but
get paid a lot.
you would get paid a lot.
Could do some snowmobiling.
But no,
I thought about it.
You definitely can choose where you want to work to a certain degree. That doesn't mean if I want to go to San Diego and there's no jobs in San Diego, well, you're not going to San Diego.
Duh.
But, you can say, hey, I'm interested in going to this state. A lot of times your recruiter, if you have a good one, is going to be honest with you and say, hey, this is the jobs that we have. Really, we don't see too many jobs in that area that you're interested in. We might have to look at something else that's similar. But you can definitely choose where you want to go. And that's one of the cool perks is to go try new stuff, new places.
Mm-hmm. Now we're on to number 4. How much money can I make as a travel therapist? It's a good question. You can make a lot more than you can as a permanent therapist. And the reason is because there are tax advantages to being a traveler. So since you are traveling away from your home, you have like duplicate expenses is the thought behind this. So if I have a home and I'm paying for a house there and I'm paying for regular business there, and then I travel away from that home to work, then I'm paying for housing at this new place and I'm paying for food. All that stuff the government considers tax-free because you're double paying for it. So some of our pay is given to us through those stipends that are tax-free, which allows us to keep a lot more of the money that we make in our pocket. And that is the secret to how you make more as a travel therapist.
Yeah, I think as a general number, you're going to make 1.5 to 2 times as much as you would make at a permanent position. And again, it's because the facility is paying you a premium because they need you for a short amount of time to cover something going on, low staffing, the business is growing, or maybe they're really rural and they just can't get a permanent therapist there yet to hire on. So you're going to make about 1.5 to 2 times more money than you would as a permanent therapist. How we kind of do pay packages, when you get offered a travel therapy pay package, it will be now it's gross, but we always like to say about $1,500 to $2,500 per week, and that's after taxes. So that's like money in your pocket each week. And we do it on a weekly thing because that's how travel contracts work, is they're going to show you your pay of how much you're going to make weekly. So again, that's $1,500 to $2,500 per week. And that's after taxes. So taxes have already been taken out, money in your pocket. But that's usually what we try to answer, is kind of in those general terms of how much you'll make.
Frequently asked question number 5, where do travel therapists typically live? So there's quite a few different options. You can be an RV dweller as a traveler. You can live in a van down by the river. You can also rent a room, just like one room out of someone's house. You can find that a lot of times on Airbnb or on Furnished Finder. And then you could rent a whole house. You could live in extended stay hotels.
Rent an apartment.
You could rent an apartment. What is nice about Airbnb or Furnished Finder or like VRBO or Verbo, however they want you to say that, is that they always come furnished. And that is a huge help. We've never ever traveled with like furniture.
No, don't do it.
I think
just get by something furnished.
I've heard of a therapist who traveled with like an air mattress and a recliner.
If you want to like squeak by and make you a lot of money and save that way, then be my guest.
Yeah, but that's not going to be enjoyable.
No, I think if you're a solo traveler, or even like a couple traveling and you can stay in one room, if you're looking for most cost effective, then it is renting a room from someone. And usually on Furnished Finder, Airbnb, they're used to travel nurses, travel therapists coming in. So they're used to our type. And so that's why they are doing a rental. Or like one of our rentals that we have like a basement, separate entrance apartment. So it's completely separate. So we've stayed in some of those before. We've rented those before, but your own kind of space. And then, if you're crazy and you travel with the family and your RV breaks down and is in the shop, you could also rent a whole home. So there's lots of different options out there for depending on how you like to travel.
Mm-hmm. And the cheaper you keep your housing, the more of those, the more of your money you keep in your pocket.
Yeah. With the housing stipend, it's not like they give you a stipend, they expect you to spend all of it. It's they just pay you a housing stipend in your paycheck, and then they say, hey, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, is travel therapy a good option for new grads?
Heck yeah.
We think so. We started out as new grads. It depends on, I think as I've gotten older, I guess, I don't know, have thought about it a little bit more. It depends on how confident you are. Now, you're always going to feel a little uncomfortable to go into something like travel because it's outside the box. But really, you're coming out of school very, very capable. And so hear that from us is that they prepare us very well. And then your clinicals is a good dry run of kind of how a travel contract will feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just kind of getting your flow. And you're going to get your flow whether it's at the permanent place in your local town or out on a travel contract. But it kind of depends on your confidence level a little bit. We've always felt that, go for it if you feel confident enough. Because we knew if we would have stayed, 1 year permanent, it would have been really hard to leave our home where all of our family is. And so we were like, no, we just got to go and try it. And it's been great.
Yeah. We've heard from nurses that you definitely should have a year of experience, especially if you're going to be on the floor, which I think is most of the travel jobs.
Yeah.
Get a year of experience under your belt, make sure you're comfortable in that setting, and then go for it. Therapy wise, I think you're pretty well prepared and some of your actions aren't as life threatening as a nurse's
actions. We're not
actions
giving
could
drugs to people.
Yeah. Okay. So what are we on? 7?
Yep.
Okay. What's the hardest part of being a travel therapist?
I think the hardest part is usually people adjusting to the constant change. And if we're honest, I mean, it is constant change. You're a new employee every 3 months, possibly. You're starting in a new facility every 3 months, and you're living in a new area. You're shopping at a new grocery store. You're away from your family. There's just a lot of constant change, and no one really likes change, and so it takes a little bit to get used to that or get used to that things are going to change. But I would say that's probably the hardest part is just being
outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, going through all that change. Probably the hardest part for us, though, would be being away from family. So we do love our family and love being around them. And if you're that type of person, then it can be tough when you're gone for a long time. But again, kind of use travel therapy to however you want it to be. So whether that's travel a little bit around your family, travel a little bit away from them, take longer times around holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, to visit family, can be very, very helpful. Number 8, can I bring my family or pets with me as a travel therapist?
You sure can. I think family-wise, we're doing it. It's a little more rare to have a family going with you. We're 2.5, almost 3 years into it, and we're making it work. We definitely do try to go home part of the year and then go on the road part of the year. We like having a home base. So we have a sticks and brick home that we can go back to with our own stuff, our own environment. And I think that's very helpful. And our kids are also still very young, so they're not asking to be in activities. They're not in school. So those are also considerations. If you had a super flexible job at home, or if you're established with PRN at home and you decided that over your kids' summer break you wanted to take a contract, that could definitely be a possibility. Summer break and contracts are about the same length. So that could be something to look into if you have older kids and you want to try it. And then pets wise, you can for sure bring them along. I think there are a lot of people who allow you to have pets in their wherever you rent, but you just might be paying an extra pet fee.
Yep. Just make sure you're finding housing that's pet friendly. So one little obstacle, but definitely can bring them along.
I wonder if they'd charge a pet fee for an iguana.
I think they would.
What about fish?
That's a pet. I would charge it. I would
Just
probably
don't tell them about the fish.
I'd probably charge a pet fee for our 2 young little rascals, bringing them along.
They do create.
They make more mess,
messes.
I think, than some pets. But yeah, you can definitely bring them along, and it makes it fun. It's a unique experience. Number 9, how do travel therapists keep everything organized? There is a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of deadlines. There's a lot of paperwork. And so probably our number 2 things that we use kind of digitally is a Google Calendar, because then we're connected on the Google Calendar, so we can put when things are due and all that stuff, deadlines. Mm-hmm. And then we use Google Drive. So we pay.
Why you sound like you're making an ad for Google?
I know. No, not sponsored. But Google Drive, you could use any kind of electronic storage site there, but that's what we use just because it's connected to everything.
Yeah, we've got like a records and receipts folder that's shared between us, and then we keep like all of our contract negotiation documents, license stuff.
We keep everything. So what you used to keep in a big old filing cabinet, please do not bring a filing cabinet with you on your assignment. You should be able to go electronically, scan those babies in. And it's super helpful because you can search stuff with it.
You can keyword search. I mean, titles matter. I think that's probably how a keyword searches. But yeah, that's so convenient. You don't have to look through and sift through a whole bunch of paperwork. If you are not on the electronic filing cabinet bandwagon, get on it.
Yeah, definitely look into it because it's super helpful as a travel.
You can scan things from your phone.
Therapist. Yeah,
it's a scan. It's not a photo.
But that really helps us keep organized for anything that we need to upkeep with our tax home, with our cars and registration since we're out of state. All kinds of stuff. So look into that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Last one.
Last one. What are the best things about being a travel PT, OT, SLP?
Well, I think for us, it would be the adventure. So we look back on our many travel assignments and the places we've been, and it feels like little chapters in our life where we got to live somewhere and go see really cool national parks or visit with people or meet new people. And when we're back home and we're like on a travel assignment back home, we love being back home with family. But if we're longing for travel, usually it's because of those memories that we've gotten to go experience, because we look back on them, we're like, I can't believe we did all that in this past year.
You know what? I think it buys you, in a weird way, not literally, but it buys you more time in 1 year, because you might end up at 4 different places in 1 year and have 4 different whole experiences that are completely separate and completely bookended. And it kind of gets filed away as, like Ryan was saying, a chapter in your brain with certain experiences, certain things you learned, certain memories you made. And when you look back and you realize that was just 1 year span and I did all of that, it feels like way more time has passed, because you fit so much in. You would never be able to fit that much stuff in regularly without doing travel in your life. So it's kind of a weird thing to look back on and be like, oh, it's only been a year. But that's a really cool perk.
Yes. So the adventure side of it, going to see new things, experiencing new experiences. There's other factors too. Taking time off between assignments, making more money. That's not bad either. But I think for us is those memories that we get to invest in, like we talked about on a previous podcast. But the adventure and looking back on those is such a cool opportunity for our profession.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that kind of leads us to the end here. Now, we always like to end on, saying, hey, if you're interested in starting as a travel therapist, we always recommend to get recommended recruiters. You want to get a recruiter from someone who has been traveling, who is traveling. And so we're always willing to share those with you. All you have to do is click the link down in the description of this podcast or the YouTube video if you're watching, and that will just take you to one of our forums on our website. That allows us to get to know you a little bit better, and then we will connect you with our travel recruiters. So, now that we've hopefully answered some questions, hopefully you can get started with that.
Yeah. No risk in reaching out, no commitment in getting connected with a recruiter, just getting a connection with somebody that we know will be a great recruiter and make your experience great. And it's never bad to make that connection, especially if you do decide to travel. So yes, please reach out if this has piqued your interest. We hope that if you're thinking about it, that you take the leap and just try it, because it's been so worth it.
Yeah. Do you want to do a what's been good, what's been poopy?
That segment, that whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Come up with something off the top of my head. Okay. I'll ask you first. Okay. What's been poop?
What's been poopy is we're entering into the phase with kids as parents where we're needing to potty train our oldest. It's so hard. It's like we talk to our friends who have kids, and they'll be like, well, we just, we took them out of the diaper and then they soiled themselves once and then they didn't like it and they never went again. Not the case for our child. It has been a little bit of a struggle. She is fully aware. She will tell you she's wet in her pants or wet in her diaper. We've tried doing it outside of, no diaper. And she's just like content. She's just like, yeah, so what? I dookied my pants. And
she's busy.
It is poopy. Yeah, she is busy.
She'll figure it out one day. One day, hopefully before she's 5
hopefully
or 4.
Before she's 15.
Okay, what's been good?
What's been good is we've been getting some snow here in Colorado, and that's gotten me excited we have a ski trip planned, and my sister and her boyfriend are coming in for that. So really excited to do some skiing. We just went up to Breckenridge, not to ski or snowboard, but to enjoy the town. And it was really cool to see all the ski slopes up there. Mm-hmm. So getting excited for that. I wouldn't say that we are skiers or snowboarders. We've done it maybe a handful of times, but ready to, while we're here, might as well do it.
Yeah.
All right. What's been poopy?
The snow in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
No, we got in Colorado when it was like super nice fall, great, and fell in love. And we were like, let's extend here. It's going to be great. A winter in Colorado, there's still stuff to do. Well, it turns out with kids, most days there's nothing to do, which is just like anywhere else during the winter, Yeah,
it's just cold. You can only be outside for so long.
Yeah. So surviving it's the short days with less sunlight, but they feel longer,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean.
I do feel like it's pretty sunny here, though, for the winter. And
yeah.
Maybe that's a Midwest.
It is nice.
Maybe that's a Midwest thing where it always feels like it's gray and dreary.
Yeah. It's like cold here, but the sun will still be out. And sometimes the cold isn't brutal. We went back home for Thanksgiving and the cold was brutal.
Bone chilling.
And not sunny. So anyway, but what's been good is that we have gotten to do some pretty cool like winter activities here. They have a lot of markets and they have like snow or ice carving contests, and they have like snow castles. We haven't gone to everything yet, but those are all things we could do. They have like train rides in the snow. So there's cool experiences. But what we did too was we went to a Christmas market, which I had never heard of until we watched it on Kara and Nate, and they were in Europe. And then we found out there's one here. So we went, and I felt like Kara and Nate.
Yeah, that was a cool experience. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you could hit that like button if you're watching here on YouTube. Leave us a comment if you have any other questions. We'd love to see those and answer those. But until next time, see ya.